The Bay Area music scene is not like that of anywhere else. In the beginning of the Hip Hop Evolution episode entitled Out the Trunk, the Bay, they discuss that notion, explaining that the Bay Area didn't take any cues from New York in regards to our hip hop scene. The attitude in the Bay is more like, we're going to do this our way. And that shows up not just in the music itself, but from the culture that surrounds it as well. The amount of slang that has stemmed from Bay Area rap is almost unfathomable, and generally becomes commonly used throughout the rest of the hip-hop world as well. Too Short is one of the Bay's most beloved rappers. He moved from LA to Oakland in 1980 and credits Oakland and the culture of the Bay to be what influenced him to start rapping. Freddie B and Too Short actually met by chance on the back of an AC Transit bus. They explained that when they met, they found out they both rapped and just decided to become a group. They had their music burned onto a cassette tape, and one day they were playing their music in a boombox, and when they went to eject the tape, someone asked, "How much do you want for it?" And Freddie responded, $5. Too Short goes on to explain that that was the moment that sparked a domino effect where everyone one by one started saying, "I want one too." They not only started selling the tapes from the trunks of their cars, but they also talk about how they would give the tapes to the drug dealers in the neighborhood as a means of distribution. They also allowed people to pay them to make a custom tape with special shout-outs on them. Like they would say, "I'll give you $20 to make a song with my name on it." Too Short himself says he set the stage for the Bay Area rap scene to exist, and he definitely played a major role in bringing the pimp culture back into rap. The Black Resurgence was a dance group in Oakland in the 70s, and they were sometimes used as a way to bring out crowds at Black Panther events in the early days as the party was forming. One of the members of the Black Resurgence recalls that when they would rehearse outside, they would bring about big crowds of kids that wanted to watch them rehearse. Amongst those kids was often MC Hammer. Hammer grew up watching them, and you can see the impact that it made on him as a performer. When Can't Touch This was released, Hammer was able to reach mainstream success. One of the most well-known rappers to come out of the Bay is obviously E40, who grew up in Vallejo, California. E40 credits MC Hammer and Too Short with paving the way for him in the Bay Area rap scene. He talks about how growing up listening to Too Short's music inspired him to put reality into his music, and talk about the things he's actually seeing and experiencing every single day in the Bay. 40 states that when he first started rapping, a lot of people actually thought his music was whack. They hadn't heard anyone rap like him previously. The first 3 albums that he dropped didn't really catch on, and he was concerned that maybe his music never would. Then he dropped his 4th album in a major way, and it finally caught on. One of the more tangible ways that we see 40's long-lasting impact is in some of the phrases and slang terms that he has invented and put into his music over the years. There are too many examples to even begin to name. Paris is another rapper from Oakland. He was known as the Black Panther of hip-hop. He explains that he went to UC Davis and graduated with his degree, but left feeling like he had no sense of self, and he didn't even know who Malcolm X was. Then, in the late 80s, Paris went to see Farrakhan speak in Oakland, and it changed his life forever. That inspired him to do research and learn more about Black history. He eventually took that knowledge and used it to fuel his Black Power style of rap music, which obviously led to him receiving the name the Black Panther of hip-hop, and becoming the father of political rap in the Bay. Digital Underground, on the other hand, had a completely different outlook on the way they wanted their music received. They viewed it as a way to dance away your problems, essentially. They were all about just having fun and making it cool to just be yourself. The character of Humpty Hump was actually only meant for the Do What You Like music video, but it was so beloved they decided to create a song for the character. That song is now the classic called The Humpty Dance. Digital Underground also brought us the one and only Tupac Shakur. Tupac didn't come to the Bay until he was 18 years old, but the influence it had on him was like nothing else, which is why he credits Oakland for his music. He started out with Digital Underground as someone who just carried their equipment and helped out while they were touring with whatever needed to be done. Then they gave him 8 bars on the song Same Song, which to this day is still a classic. Tupac's style was different from that of Digital Underground, and he wasn't really happy just being part of a group because he craved more creative control. He dropped Tupacalypse Now, and that really started to take off his career. Tupac is indisputably one of the best rappers of all time, not just the best rapper to come from the Bay. We are all so lucky that Oakland was the place that gave Tupac his voice. This episode of Hip Hop Evolution did an amazing job of detailing the history of hip hop within the Bay. The music scene in the Bay Area influences our communities in real and tangible ways every single day. This episode really painted the picture of where the hip hop scene first started and the impact that it has had along the way. From Too Short and Freddie B selling mixtapes out of their trunks, to Tupac becoming one of the most well-known and well-loved rappers worldwide. It's impossible to talk about hip-hop evolution without acknowledging the impact that the Bay has had. The structure of this episode is clearly very intentional and makes an impact on how the information is received. They start by talking about Too Short and his impact along with how he got there. Then they are able to connect each artist together as they tell the story, helping us as viewers understand how they each influenced the other. These artists all inspired each other, paving the way as they went. All of these artists have incredibly unique and distinct styles, but the one thing that they all have in common is the impact that the Bay has had on their artistry. We are all so lucky to live in a place with such a rich history that makes such a huge impact on the individuals living within these communities.
How you get so much feeling from Oakland?
Because that's where I got the game at, you know what I'm saying? Coming out of New York, I always learned about flavor and different shit like that. Not to diss New York, I learned a lot, but I never knew the game. I never learned the game. And when I went to Baltimore, I didn't learn the game. Nobody ever took the time to show me the game. When I got to Oakland, that's when I learned the game. That's when it was in me. Somebody just awoke it. Somebody just woke it up inside me, you know what I'm saying? Like a religion. And I just saw it, and I saw it in Oakland. I saw it living in Oakland. I saw it thriving in Oakland. I just saw everybody being about the game. That's the first time I saw all niggas thinking about one thing, the game. And they all follow one rule, the game, the rules of the game. And that was never in no other city I lived in. So I give all my love to Oakland. If I'm going to claim somewhere, I'm going to claim Oakland. Even if I don't live there. I live in L.A. now, but I'm going to still claim Oakland. That's where it gave me the game. So I'm a resident, you know what I'm saying?